Hello. So you may well have heard of this big, beautiful idea of love and light. Something deeper than just a feel-good factor. A transcendent force. You might have some ideas about how to actually connect with it. What gets us in sync with that deeper awareness? But first, let's consider mindfulness meditation. It's not flashy or dramatic. It's more like quietly showing up for yourself. You sit, you breathe, and you try to notice what's going on in your head and your body without instantly forming judgments about what's going on around you. Easier said than done, right? But here's the thing. Over time, that simple act of noticing without reacting can shift things. It clears out the mental clutter and helps you see through the noise of stress, impatience and grumpiness. And people who stick with it often say they feel calmer, more tolerant, even kinder. My wife, Carol, teaches mindfulness, and she sums it up perfectly. It helps me tune into what I'm really feeling, my thoughts, mood, and what's going on around me. Once I get to know that inner landscape, I start spotting the habits that aren't really helping me, or anyone else for that matter. It makes me feel more connected to others and to the bigger picture of life. Now, let's be honest. We've all got our not so lovely tendencies lurking in the background. Stuff like vanity, laziness, greed, or being a bit too into our own drama. The Buddhist tradition calls these inner gremlins anusayas. Now, this word sounds fancy, but basically it's your mental habits waiting for the right moment to pop up. Yes, Swedenborg was a 18th century spiritual philosopher, and he talked about the same thing. Inherited inner junk that gets in the way of love and light. And of course that's where mindfulness gets interesting. You're not trying to force yourself to be more calm or kind. That usually backfires. Like trying to be happy. It just makes you more frustrated when you're not. Instead, mindfulness is more like creating the right conditions for the good stuff to grow. You just keep noticing what's going on in your mind, letting it come and go. And with practice, feelings like calm and balance sneak in on their own. They're the byproduct, not the goal. And it's catching on big time is mindfulness. Why, you wonder? Because it's basically a way of saying yes to the light of insight. Even if you're not into the religious angle, mindfulness is a spiritual thing, quietly transforming you from the inside out. Now, there are other ways to plug into love and light more directly. Take the idea of metta meditation, for example. That's about sending warm, fuzzy feelings to yourself first, then radiating them out to others. Sounds cheesy? Maybe, but it seriously ups your empathy and compassion game. Then there's mindfulness Christianity. This is basically bringing full awareness to life while staying connected to the Christian's idea of the presence of Christ within. As it says in the New Testament, I am the way and the truth and the life. It's about following that inner compass. Then again, there is confessional prayer. That fits in here too. It means honestly owning your mess-ups, asking for help, and moving towards being your better self. Well, there are other ways, but I've just mentioned a few ways of contemplation. But I bet you're wondering, whatever contemplative practice I use, why is it so difficult to incorporate into my life? Well, let's be real. All this inner work is hard. You need self-discipline like you do when you're learning a musical instrument. You've got to do your practice. You can't fake your way through it. You've got to show up regularly, even when it's not really exciting, when it's not really interesting, when it's a bit boring or uncomfortable, or you rather scroll on your phone. Meditation and prayer are both a bit like herding cats. Your mind runs off and you keep bringing it back again and again. And even if you're super motivated at the start, then things get in the way. You get sick, you lose your job, something shifts at home, and boom, your good habits are out of the window. Sometimes life just piles on. Even when everything looks fine on the outside, you can feel lost or off balance inside, like something blocking your energy, or you've drifted from your centre. Swedenborg calls this kind of thing spiritual temptation combat. Those inner tug-of-war moments between your better self and your not so better self. Perhaps it's loud and stressful sometimes. Other times it's slow, like a grey fog, where you lose sight of your usual hopes. Eventually, these moments force a turning point, a choice. Which way do you want to go? Well, here's a little secret I've had to learn the hard way. I can't do this life thing all by myself. I've tried. I really have. But life throws problems. We fall down. We lose hope. We can't always bootstrap our way out of it. That's when you need something or someone bigger than yourself, a wise teacher, a supportive group, a powerful, quiet help from above. Even the medieval alchemists got this. Sure, they were trying to turn lead into gold, base metal into gold, but they also saw it as a metaphor for personal transformation, turning ego into compassion, turning envy into kindness. And they knew they needed help from a higher source. It's exactly here where contemplation gets truly mind-blowing. When you sit quietly and look inward, you start noticing your thoughts, your feelings, and your ideas keep shifting. None of them last. So, what's the you that's watching all that? What's the part that notices the change? The observing self. The observer self. Maybe that's your real thing, your real self. Maybe that's the bit connected to something timeless, something radiant, the soul inside. Maybe that is love and light shining in yourself. If that's true, then maybe the real move is to turn toward the source of love and light. Ask for help. Let that deeper presence lead, because as long as we've caught up in its appearance, as long as we've caught up in our ego, we miss the magic. Many traditions, from Hinduism to Christianity, say the same thing. The ego's version of reality is often a bit of a mess. It's not that the world is fake, it's just that the way we see it can be off. So, maybe the first step is realizing we can't fix ourselves all alone. Maybe we need to drop the illusion of control and reach for something bigger, brighter and more loving. Because let's face it, we all need a little help sometimes. Thank you for listening to me.